Can you just pour laundry detergent and fabric softener into the drum of your washing machine? Yes, you can. But should you? Probably not. When you start the cycle on most washing machines, no matter what cycle, the first thing you'll usually hear running is the washing machine's drain pump. That's just in case there's anything remaining inside the machine that shouldn't be in there. After that, the drum will begin to fill with water. In terms of temperature, that fill water is going to be the temperature that you either set on it or the one that's predetermined by the cycle you've chosen. The temperature of the water is very important. We'll come back to that later. After the washing machine fills with water, it's going to start washing, which I know sounds redundant, but this is the wash cycle, when the washing machine is actually agitating and cleaning the clothing. After the wash cycle is complete, the washing machine will drain out all of the water and begin to fill for the rinse cycle, which as far as I know is always cold water. Personally, I've never seen a washing machine that doesn't use cold water for the rinse cycle. Again, the temperature there is very important. Put a pin in it, we'll come back later. The rinse cycle does exactly what the name implies. It rinses out all of the dirty water that is now in your clothing. So after the washing machine fills with water and it might agitate again during the rinse, it's going to drain everything out. Then it'll start the spin cycle while it's draining to get any remaining water out of your clothing, and voila, your clothing is clean. Now that we have the basic idea of how a washing machine works, we can talk about how laundry detergent works. As with most detergents, laundry detergent works by bonding to the dirt and grime in your clothing. And once it's attached, it all gets rinsed out in the rinse cycle. There's a pretty low chance that putting detergent directly into the drum by itself is going to hurt anything. However, it is important that you put the detergent in first before you put your clothing in. That's so that the water is actually able to reach the detergent and it doesn't accidentally get folded into your clothing, which is usually a bigger issue if you overload your washing machine, but laundry detergent is meant to be diluted before it touches your clothing. The big issue here being that some laundry detergents include dyes. So if laundry detergent comes in contact with your dry clothing, especially if it's in contact with your dry clothing for a long period of time. For example, if you're using the delay start feature, there is a small chance that you might actually stain your clothing. But if you put the detergent into the dispenser of your machine where it's supposed to go, water is going to flush through that dispenser before it ever even touches your clothing, which means it's going to be dissolved before it hits your clothing anyway, and it's going to work the way it's supposed to. Again, not a big deal. If you have to put it into the drum of your machine, it'll still work mostly the same, with a very small avoidable risk as long as you're taking precautions. Fabric softener, on the other hand, not as much wiggle room. The way that fabric softener makes your clothing feel soft is by depositing itself into the fibers of your clothes and then staying there, which is why it's specifically supposed to go in during the rinse cycle, because cold water sets it into your clothing. If you were to use fabric softener in hot water, it's not really going to work because it's just going to flow through your clothing and then all melt out. And even if the water isn't hot, extra water flowing through your clothing can get some of the fabric softener out of your clothing. So putting fabric softener in even by itself during the wash cycle is just a waste of fabric softener. Part of the purpose of laundry detergent is to remove the old fabric softener so that new fabric softener can be deposited. That way your clothing doesn't get dingy or start to smell. So if you're putting laundry detergent and fabric softener in your machine at the same time, they're gonna work against each other. Not only that, but the laundry detergent might start working at the fabric softener instead of the soils in your clothing. So putting them in at the same time is going to be much less effective at cleaning than if you were to use them separately the way they're supposed to be used. But if your washing machine doesn't have a fabric softener dispenser and you still want to use fabric softener, you can pause the cycle right before the final rinse and put it in at that point, since that's when it would be dispensed anyway. And I know some of you are thinking, what about detergent pods that have fabric softener in them? That fabric softener is designed a little bit differently so it can work at somewhat different temperatures. But if you want your clothes to be softened by fabric softener, it is still designed to be used with fabric softener in the rinse as well. Think of pods kind of like a 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner. If you put them all together in one pod, it's going to be very convenient. It's still going to get the job done, but much like a 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner, it's not going to be as effective as these separate products on their own. In conclusion, while putting both laundry detergent and fabric softener in the drum of your washing machine together isn't going to hurt your washing machine, it's not going to be as effective as using the laundry detergent and fabric softener the way they're designed to be used. You gotta keep them separated. So mixing them together is more of a waste of money than anything else. Hope that helps.